laptop mic, but it's
Yeah.
Garbo.
Beans, you sound very nice now.
Yay.
Very pretty.
That's the magic of plug and play.
The magic.
You plug in and play with it.
You plug in, you'll play. Wow.
It's so good.
All right, I think we're all here. We're all ready to go.
We're all good?
Kellogg's, you want to take it away?
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Stay Indoors, the only podcast on the internet that had to wait for Sean to wake up before we started recording for you. We are Geek Garden. Once again, I am Kelly McCabe, your groovy guru through this freaky podcast space-time. And joining me, as always, Brandon Horn.
Hey.
Jack Tan.
Yeah.
And Sean Fabish.
Ooh.
And we got all kinds of fun and not so fun stuff to talk about this week. But before we get started, how you guys doing? Brandon, how was your week so far?
My week was pretty dang good, to be completely honest. And mainly because of the stream. I and we also collectively have been streaming a lot. And we've made a lot of new friends this week, a lot of new people watching the channel, lots of followers, lots of people in the Discord. I have to shout out to, he's live right now, but I got to shout out to Jordan Adika. He kind of let me kind of plug our thing in like his Discord and stuff because I really liked his community. And a bunch of people from there came over and said hi, and we've made a bunch of new friends. Shout out to Naomi. And a bunch of other people, and yeah, and you guys got a chance to play with some of them when we played Among Us like a few days ago, and yeah, it's been a blast. And like literally, the last few times I've gone on to stream, I've just done it just to like, just chill. Like I've just put on the stream. Bye, Sean. Hi, Sean. just to like chill. And see if anyone wants to hang out and chat. And every single time I've had like consistent like 3 or 4 people show up and just like hang out and chat, and it's been nice. So I've been very excited for like what's to come if we like keep this up and like keep doing content, and I can feel the growth. And I'm actually, for the first time in probably a year, I'm excited for the future.
Hey,
because
good.
Oh boy, what a year, right? So yeah, my week's been pretty great.
Right
pretty
on.
good. Yeah.
What about yourself, Jack? Anything going on? How you doing?
I mean, I did nothing yesterday, so that's what's going on.
Hey, man. Nice. Sometimes doing nothing is really just what you need. Straight up.
It's true.
That's true.
Because you're actually, going to school, and as we discussed last time, like learning to fly planes and stuff. So I feel like you've earned a couple days off here and there, just hanging out.
That's true. I do have a radio exam in the next couple weeks, so.
A radio exam?
Yeah.
So that's like you've got to learn, like you've got to make sure you know all like the terms and how to communicate over the radio and stuff. Is that what that is?
Yeah. And
Nice.
I gotta know the area procedures, which are annoying because they keep changing over time. Lightning keeps changing their fucking procedures over and over time. It just gets confusing. So I gotta learn all that shit too as well.
Is there like for your, like if you're learning to be a pilot, is there like a component that's like history of flight? Like, do you have to learn like how things have changed in specific ways and stuff like that? Or is it basically just like what's going on now is the most important?
We don't care about the history of flight. We only care about what matters now and is it better?
Cool. I should hope that it's better. I really hope it's not worse.
No, we're going back to the Wright brothers.
Yeah, totally.
Right back to square one.
Right back.
What was that pilot that like disappeared and we never found her?
Amelia Earhart?
Yeah, just like he like goes to school and they're like, "Where is she?" And that's the class.
What?
Sir, can we learn to fly? No, we're
It's
trying
like
to find her.
the class list, and it's like Radio 101 landing procedures. Where the fuck is Amelia Earhart? And then talking to your co-pilot, like it just keeps going.
Am I crazy in thinking she was Canadian, or is that wrong?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
While Sean's talking about his week, I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, Sean, how's your week? How you doing?
I'm hesitant to call it good because it's not been good,
What's up, man?
but it's not been bad. Just the same usual stuff: sleep, family, all that garbage.
You've been doing a little
family, all
more
that garbage.
insomnia stuff this week, yeah.
Yeah, I've been just just trying to get on top of it. And so I spent the last night at Zoe's, and then I had to take a call from a family member because they're going through a rough time right now. And I left my girlfriend's house and I walked around downtown Vancouver for like 45 minutes talking to them. And then when I got back, then Zoe had like not slept because of me, and so we had to like have our own conversation about our own stuff and problems, and then so we didn't get a good sleep either. And then she wakes up much earlier than I'm used to, and so by the time I got back, I was just fucking tired already. So, but yeah, that's just been my constant week, is just like trying to get my sleep cycle back on track, because it's been getting away from me. Probably August, September, it's just been like all over the fucking place. So I'm just like trying to wake up at a schedule, because I know that helps with my sort of mental health and feeling of fatigue.
Yeah. Well, how are you doing right now? Where are you at?
Today, where am I at?
Yeah.
Tired, probably.
I know you
Well,
and Brandon got up.
but
for
hence the
for
nap.
trios.
Yeah, I took a nap before we got on, because I was trying to like do the stream with Brandon and talk about fucking Pikmin, and all I'm thinking about is give me Olimar or give me death. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't really want Olimar. I just want death.
Because the gameplay was all Alfie and the new character Brittany. It was very funny.
Alf and Brittany are like the
Right.
new co-op pair.
Mm.
But I'm like, where the fuck is Olimar? Where the fuck is Louis?
Louis did show up later in the stream.
Yeah,
He did.
yeah. They're like in a different multiplayer mode, which is like, sure.
Gotcha.
But Sean's here. He's here with
But
us.
I'm here
And we
finally.
appreciate it.
My bad for sleeping in.
Hey, no man,
Man.
it's all good.
It happens.
Well,
all
I
good.
thought I was like, oh, I'm a minute late. Fuck, it won't take me long to get set up. And then I like wait for the slowest computer in the fucking world. I just need a webcam, because if I could do it on the desktop, this would be much.
Yeah, because you're on your laptop right now, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the desktop's all just set up. It's
Yeah,
just all
no,
ready
that's
to go.
fair. That is fair.
Well, for my part, I've had a bit of a strange week because nothing major, but Sam's been working from home, so I haven't really had access to my laptop during the week, and I've been wanting to. I'm like up and about a little bit more, so I've been wanting to like do some digital art. I've been wanting to do some more writing, that kind of thing. I've got this script for this like Avengers video game video that I want to make. That I just keep adding to it, and it's like this giant thing, and I think I'm close to actually like recording it. I recorded it once, but my audio was weird, so I was like rewriting it, doing it again, but I couldn't do that because like Sam's working from. It's been a whole thing, but I've actually been writing more in like my like journals and books and my leather bound books and stuff. So I've been actually like writing by hand again, and that's been really fun. Working on a bunch of different projects, writing like pencil sketching, stuff like that. And I just had an X-ray appointment. I'm going to see the doctor tomorrow. We'll see where I'm at with that, and that's been really cool. And I've been playing some cool games. I downloaded, because I've been wanting them forever, and I looked at them one day. They were full price. I looked at them the next day. They were on sale for like half off. More than is Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 1 and 2. And so
Okay.
Togi Igarashi, Koji Igarashi.
Cool. Yeah.
I can't think of his first name right now, which is really upsetting. But he's like mostly famous for kind of pushing Castlevania because of Symphony of the Night. He's like the Symphony of the Night guy.
Okay. Yeah.
And kind of helping establish the Metroidvania genre. He doesn't work with Konami anymore, because Konami's the worst now.
Yep.
But he kickstarted Bloodstained Ritual of the Night a few years ago, which like everybody loved, and it's basically Castlevania. But as part of that, he did this like little like 2D old school like 8-bit looking platformer called Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. And so I've been really wanting to play it, and I just picked it up for Switch, and it's normally the second one alone is like $20, and I got them both for less than $20 because they were like on hella sale. and it's really cool because basically there's like 4 characters, and your different like abilities are that you switch between those characters, and you can do it like on the fly. You just hit a shoulder button and you're playing as the next character, like right where you are, you swap to the other one.
Right.
And they all have access to like the classic Castlevania thing where you like break a lantern and you get like a new sub weapon. They all have access to different sub weapons. So like sometimes you're playing through and there's like a certain part where you're like, oh, this is super easy because I have the character who's just like really good at doing this thing.
Right.
But if they die, you continue playing like without them. You only have the other 3 on the roster.
Oh.
So then certain things get super hard, and there's like certain like paths you can't take because like Miriam, she can do like this like slide move, and she's the only one who can do that. So if there's like a little gap, she's the only one who can get in there. And if you get there and she's dead, you have to take a different route, which is usually like harder and has like more crazy platforming and stuff.
That's cool.
So you
That's
constantly
fun.
have to switch all these characters and use all their different abilities like on the fly. And it's really cool. And then there's a sequel, which I haven't played yet, but it actually has co-op. And so you have a pool of characters, but any 2 people, I think, can only like you have to be different characters at a time.
You like share the roster?
Yeah, you share the roster.
Yeah.
You're trying to like navigate this co-op hard school retro platformer, but you're also 2 different people who are trying to tackle different problems together. And I'm just really excited about it. I haven't gotten into the sequel yet, but
Sweet.
I'm really stoked about it. So that's where I'm at. And
Yeah,
then
man.
of course, I've been every so often I log on for Avengers just because I'm like, I'll level up Kamala for like 2 levels today. Why not?
Yeah.
I've got everybody else to level 50, so I might as well.
I'm happy it sounds like you're into creating a stuff again, because I'm sure that's probably a nice kind of productive thing you haven't been doing in like forever. And so I'm sure there's all this like pent up energy of like, let me do things. And so that's
really good.
Glad to hear.
I finally got, it's not directly related to like our stuff here, but I finally got like my new email and stuff properly set up so that I can start genuinely trying to take commissions for my art as well.
Sweet. Very cool.
You know?
Which again, I couldn't do while Sam was here, but I'm going to try to like get that ball rolling a little bit. So
Hell yeah, man. That's
if
awesome.
you want your D&D character or OC superhero drawn by a guy, let me know.
Kelly, you should take the thing that like, I don't know, like the most proud of or something like that and post on Geek Garden and just say like, hey, commissions at like just sponsor yourself on Geek Garden.
Yeah.
Just go for it. Just help. Not that we have a huge viewer base, but for anyone
it's
who's
something.
watching or follows us on Instagram, there you go.
It's something.
It's there. Cool. Well, then I guess I can take it from here and go
I
on
was just
to
gonna say,
our...
Brandon, I think you have something you wanna
we got some spicy stuff happening in the nerd community, and I'm unfortunately really excited about it, but it's not a fun thing to talk about. It's not a good thing. Before we get anywhere, I just want to make a few announcements, just because we don't do that often anymore, and we've had a lot of new people watching and joining the community and everything. If you like our content, we appreciate the follow. We're slowly catching up. We're at 58 followers now. We went up like in the last like 2 days. We went up like 8 followers. So we're going at a very nice pace of just like getting some people on our channel. But we also have a YouTube channel. We also have an Instagram page. We also have a Twitter. We do have a Facebook, but to be honest, I kind of don't give a shit about the Facebook page.
I'm kind of over
Facebook, and I haven't really been including it in any of our marketing because I'm just like, God, Facebook's the worst. The irony is that we still use Instagram, but I feel like Instagram's a little bit different just because the thing you do on there is kind of different. But we do have a Facebook page too. You're welcome to find us. Same thing, Geek Garden. You can like our page, anything is appreciated. And then we also have a Discord, which what I'll do is at the end of today's stream, I'll post the Discord link into the chat. You're welcome to join the Discord. We have like almost 40 people, I think, like getting close, like 30, 40 people in that Discord now. And you can chat with us. You can chat with everybody else that's part of the community. You can suggest topics for the videos and our YouTube videos for our streams and everything in there. So, and if anytime we're going live and want to hang out and play with people, that's also where we'll be posting and stuff. So, that'd be great. That's awesome.
I did, before we move on to today's topic, I did have an idea that I wanted to do maybe on the Discord that I've been humming and hawing that I brought to you, Kelly, and some other people. So I wanted to do like a movie month thing.
Oh yeah.
Where every month or so there's like 6 movies that you can or should watch.
Right.
Throw those up in the Discord. People vote on them. Then we talk about them if you want.
Yeah. Well, honestly, So yeah, like
I
you.
pitch the actual pitch later.
Yeah, so all of us are 100% admins on the Discord. We're all like the gardeners. I think I made it on the Discord, and then Andrew and Julie are both what I labeled groundskeepers. So they have kind of like some administrative privileges on there, but they can't like ban people and like do some more specific stuff. But yeah, Sean, if you want to open a page and then you could like, ask people for suggestions or like have your own list, and then you can like pin it. And then when 6 movies are chosen for the month, you can like pin that message, be like, "Hey, these are 6 movies, and like we're gonna talk about them, or whatever." Yeah, that's a great idea. I think it's great. Julie really wanted to start a Discord that's just pet photos. Just want to create a channel that's just you just share pictures of your pets, and I went, that sounds amazing. I would love that. That sounds perfect. Andrew's
Brandon.
wait a second. Andrew's asking if there's gonna be a Netflix party. Hell yeah, there'll be a Netflix party. Let's do it. Okay, so today's topic. So if you didn't see you guys probably didn't see it, but the title of today's podcast is MTG and Predatory Companies. And I actually have a list of how I want to go through this, because I want to explain the scenario to each of you, to all of you, have your guys' reaction, and then kind of give you some information on how the community has then since reacted, and like things that have that have happened since then. But yeah, so let's go. So general thing, we all play Magic. I'd argue Jack and I probably engaged it the most. We definitely spend the most money on it. But we all play in some way or the other. Most of us more casual formats. We play Commander. We play just like casual 60-card decks. We don't really stick to any of the like formats that are created by Wizards specifically. We don't play Standard. We don't play Modern. We don't play Legacy. We don't play Vintage. We don't blah, 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 blah. We don't play Pioneer, all that kind of stuff.
I definitely know what all of those are. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and I'm gonna give a really brief explanation. So Wizards of the Coast is the company that creates Magic. Wizards of the Coast is now owned by Hasbro, relatively recently. And so essentially the way Magic works is you buy cards in little booster packs, and you collect the cards. You can buy pre-constructed decks and stuff too, and you create 60-card decks, and then you battle against each other. And they all take place in fantasy worlds that they create their own, and each set that comes out represents like a new fantasy world. And then in order to keep the competition in competitive playing fresh and exciting, essentially every time a new set comes out, some of the old sets rotate out. And this format is called Standard, right? So it's like when you play Standard, it's just the newest 5-6 sets or whatever, and you can make decks out of those cards and rotate out. After Standard, there's some other sets that like contain all cards from a certain point onward. So like, for instance, the next one down I think is technically Pioneer, which is like all cards from like 1996 and newer, and then like Modern's even older than that, and then Legacy is like all cards, and then Vintage is like only old cards, and like so there's a bunch of different formats you can play Magic in, and all of them are more or less accessible depending on how expensive the cards are and everything. But those are the things Wizards of the Coast does. And then on top of that, the community created another format called Commander, which is a really cool multiplayer format where you pick a commander and you make a 100-card deck with only one copy of any given card, and then it's just meant for multiplayer, and you can play with any card ever printed ever. And the power level is ridiculous because you can literally use whatever card, and the combos you get are just stupid. But it's not a competitive format. Like, there is a level that they call competitive Commander, or what they call competitive EDH, which stands for Elder Drake and Highlander. That people do compete at, but it's not really sustainable, and that's why Wizards of the Coast doesn't have tournaments for it. That's why you don't have like stream tournaments. It's just like Commander's just too much of a chaotic format to even create that. There's no consistency in it at all, but it still exists. So anyways, I just wanted to get a base understanding for those who are watching and maybe don't know a lot about Magic. That's kind of like how the ecosystem works in Magic. So if you want to purchase cards, you can go to your local game store and you can buy singles because they'll stock up on single cards. So you might look at some cards online and go, hey, I want these cards, and you'll go to your local game store and you can just buy them for like, most cards are like literally pennies, like they're like 15, 20 cents, whatever. And then as you get to rares, they're kind of like $1, $2. And then as you get to cards that are in higher demand, you're looking at $7, $10, and then some of the really in demand cards get to like 50 and higher. And I'm guilty of spending $40 on a single card. Jack, I think you're kind of in the same boat, I think.
Probably. I don't remember.
Yeah. Sean, you're close.
I've spent $40 on Scarab God.
Right. Okay. Scarab God.
Literally,
Okay. And
literally
then
one card. Yeah.
Kelly, you haven't. You haven't bitten that bullet yet.
No,
No.
The most I ever spent at once was that I spent $90, but that was on like buying an entire deck of
Yeah.
singles.
Yeah. No,
Like I went in with a
exactly.
card list that was like a mile long, and I just bought all those, and I walked out and I spent $90, and I was like, "What happened? What did I just? What did I just do?"
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you'll buy them online, and then you'll be like, just one more. And then the price still comes up.
You mean what I've been doing all quarantine? Yeah.
Yep. Well, you made me do once, and I was like, "This is dangerous."
Yeah. I've probably spent upwards of like $500 on Magic during quarantine, easily. Easily.
Up.
Yeah. 7 maybe. I don't know.
Probably.
Anyways,
Dude, I don't know if I've spent $700 during quarantine.
Yeah, fair
Like,
enough.
during this year.
Fair enough. But yeah, so that's how you access Magic, and for the most part, unless a card is kind of like old and hasn't been reprinted at some point, because cards do get reprinted quite often, most cards are relatively accessible. If they're high in demand, they'll be a little more expensive, but more often than not, when you find a card, it will be within a $10 range, $10 to $20 range, just because the cards exist. Usually your local store will have one, you'll have a friend that has one, yada yada yada. So lately, or recently, Wizards of the Coast created a new product called Secret Lair. Now, Secret Lair is a premium product that essentially, the way I could bring up the website if I need to. I'm not going to bother right now because it might just take more time than necessary. But the Secret Lair is like it's a premium product where they essentially take old cards and reprint them with like themed art or something. So, for instance, they did one where it was like a cat themed Secret Lair, so it was a bunch of cards that had cats on them, and then someone like redid the art to make them all look like really cute kittens and stuff. And it's just like these cards already exist in the ecosystem, but like here's like a really cool like alt art version, right? And the Secret Lairs are only available for a certain time, so they'll market them for like months and months and months, and then they'll say, hey, it's only available on this day, or it's only available during the week or whatever. And so far they've been roughly $40 American, I think. And you can only buy them through Wizards of the Coast. So first off, that's already kind of a bit of a problematic thing some people have had, because a big part of the Magic community is your local game stores. So instead of it being a product that local game stores can order and bring into their store to sell to you, this is only through Wizards of the Coast. But in their defense, they do only print as many as needed. So essentially they have a day open or a week open for you to order it, and then once they have all their orders, they just print that many. Which is kind of, I'd argue, like a greener way, if that makes any sense, right? Like you don't need to print more than is necessary and just like inflate the ecosystem with all these like extra, just like premium art cards. They're not like a special card or anything. They're just like a different looking version of it. But anyways, so the Secret Lair was something they did. They did one for Zendikar Rising recently, where they printed a bunch of old Zendikar cards that were from the old Zendikar block in his premium art, yada yada yada. And so far they've been relatively okay received. Some people are like, well, I just don't want to, I don't really like that idea, so I'm just not going to engage with it. Some people are like, oh yeah, like I want that alt art of like that lion commander or whatever, and so I bought the kitten set or whatever, right? So Secret Lair. Recently they released a new one, which has been extremely problematic. Is anyone here even like relatively a fan or like indulged in The Walking Dead at all?
No.
I watched the first season, and because I was a fan of the comics at the time when they came out, I didn't really enjoy the way the show was going. So I stopped watching after the first season. And
Fair enough. Okay.
And then I also stopped reading the comics, so I don't know.
Kelly, you've never really engaged with it at all?
No, I'm not really a zombie guy. Like,
Yeah.
I've heard good things about, the performances and some of the early writing and stuff. It's just not my genre. So
Yeah. To be funny enough, you guys have heard me say this over and over again. I'm like not a fan at all of the zombie genre at all. Like it's just uninteresting, and I think that's partly due to the fact that it was just overdone a lot in previous years, where it was just movies and shows and video games, and everything was zombie. Like Call of Duty was doing zombies.
Especially when The Walking Dead was like at its height, like zombies were just everywhere.
Yeah. So and I actually watched the first like 4 seasons, I think. I watched a lot of it. I watched it with Alexia, I think. Yeah. I just remember that, man. And then it got to the point where I felt like it was running out of material. Like there weren't any more like story beats and stuff that really felt interesting to me. I felt like I knew enough about this world. I engaged with it because I thought it was a really cool, like, because you follow this like essentially like village of people and like how they deal with trying to survive in a zombie apocalypse, and it's kind of like the politics of it and things of it that like you don't really think of in like a video game sense, right? Like the stuff that you go like, okay, well, who's gonna be our leader, and like who's in charge of this, and like is this a good idea, is this a bad idea, should we group up with other people, can we trust them, just like that like part of it I found like interesting. The zombies setting in general still didn't, like whatever, zombies apocalypse, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, apparently they're on their 8th and last season right now. Apparently, I had no idea the show was even still running, to be completely honest with you. I thought it was over a long time ago, but apparently it's still a thing. And Wizards of the Coast have partnered with, I think it's AMC that does Walking Dead. Yeah. Partnered with AMC for a Walking Dead secret lair. Now, first off, actually, maybe I should just finish giving the details. I shouldn't get into it yet. But I'll just say that right off the bat, that's not necessarily problematic for me, but let's get into it. So they first announced this when they were revealing, actually they were showing off the Zendikar Rising set, which is the newest set out right now. And then they went, hey, like look out, we're going to be doing some Walking Dead secret lair. And it was like, oh, and they revealed a zombie token that was like in the art of like a walker from Walking Dead. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like it's just a zombie token, but has like art for the Walking Dead on it. Cool, sweet. They then proceeded to show the other cards in the set. And actually, I have images I prepared.
Images.
Let's see here. So I'm going to open this up. Oh, I just shared it on the stream, but I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Let's go like this. No, let's go here. Yep. Okay, so this is the cards they announced for the Walking Dead secret lair. You guys see that okay?
Yep. Yeah.
Cool. I realized that. Hold up. I realized that the stream's not going to be able to see this. Hold up. Let me figure something out. One hot second. Walking
Dead.
Construct additional pylons.
Must construct pylons.
Okay, so these are the cards. Now, the thing that is problematic about these guys, or the thing, I'm not even going to say that. I'm just going to say what they are. So these are 5 totally original cards. These are not cards that have existed before. They are not alt arts. These are totally original cards, and we have 5 of them here. We have Daryl, Hunter of Walkers, Glenn, the Voice of Calm, Rick, Steadfast Leader, Negan, the Cold-Blooded, and Michonne, Ruthless Survivor. Looking at them, they look like they're fun cards. They're all legendary creatures. And then I believe this also comes with a couple of artifacts and a bunch of walker tokens. I think there's like 5 walker tokens. So this is available for 1 week, starting next week. And it's only off of Magic's website, off of Wizards of the Coast website. And the other thing is that these guys are tournament legal in all formats that don't rotate. So they're not legal in Standard, but they're legal in Pioneer, they're legal in Modern, they're legal in Legacy, they're legal in Vintage, and they're legal in Commander. Thoughts at all?
That's trash. That's my first thought right off the bat. I will say, like, obviously I'm not like as invested in the Magic community, so I don't have like the kind of emotional reaction to it, I guess.
Yeah.
But I have problems with the concept of the secret lair to begin with. I don't like any time companies prey on FOMO, right? Like, intentionally generating that fear of missing out on something that you're really passionate about. Like, these are people, whatever it is, whether it's Magic, whether it's like loot boxes, video, whatever the context is, you're intentionally psychologically manipulating the people that are most invested and most passionate about your product.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they just like they love the game and they collect as much as they can, but they just genuinely can't afford to buy a $40 like set right now. They just can't afford to do it, but they would love to have these cards, right? Like, whatever the context is, I think it's a really shitty thing to do. And I also think that in the specific context of the secret lair, like, the art matters. The fact that you see people like sort of doing like aftermarket self-made Magic cards and stuff like that, like, and artists who really want to work on Magic cards, like, and some of those cards are fucking beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can argue like, oh, it's just alt art, but like the art is for a lot of people like what makes a Magic card as good as it is.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
there's a reason that the art has progressed to where it's at now from where Magic art was back in the day,
Mhm.
and has gotten better, is because people love the art of Magic cards. Like, sure, you could print a card that's just rules text, but nobody wants that card, right?
Mhm.
Which means the art matters, which means the secret layer, like alt art, matters.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's less than maybe if it was a full card, but I think even the alt art of regular secret layer, that is still important, and it still contributes to the FOMO. Then you get to this stuff, which is just absolutely awful. First off, I think it sets a bad. I think it sets a bad precedent for a lot of reasons. I think one of them is the idea of creating like a licensed Magic cards.
Yeah.
That like original license. I know, Brandon, you've talked before about like how they'll do like, oh, this is like a Godzilla card, but like all of the text and stuff is the same.
Yeah, like
maybe if you like Godzilla, you'll pick up the card, but like mechanically, if you use that card in play, it's the same card.
yeah, like I want to point out that they've done in the last set, Ikoria Lair Behemoths, they did kind of like an alt art run that were like a kind of extra rare cards inside the packs where they were monsters in the set, but they were reprinted as like Godzilla characters, like Mothra and Godzilla and Mechagodzilla and King Ghidorah and all that kind of stuff. And that people already had a problem with, because there are some people that have a really big like protection over like the Magic IPs, which I totally understand. I don't think that's
I totally get that.
I don't think that's like a poor judgment or anything. Like, I don't think that's like a bad thing. But that said, that is like way less problematic, because at the end of the day, if you don't want a fucking Mothra card, you can get Ludimus Brood Mothra, whatever the hell it is. That's the actual card with the original Magic art on it that isn't Mothra. So that's cool. This is not that. This is the opposite of that. Yeah.
This is an entirely original. It's just the Walking Dead cards. And I think, like you said, there's going to be people who already, they're invested in like in Zendikar, in Ravnica, in the settings, right, of Magic. And if they wanted to play a Walking Dead trading card game, there's probably one out there. And they would play that game, right? That's not what this game is. Yeah, exactly. And it just feels like this perfect storm of all the worst things, because you're doing this, you're making them unique. They have unique rules text. You're making them limited time purchase in the secret layer, so you feel like pressured to get them if you want any chance of getting them, because if you don't buy them now, they're going to be like hella expensive to try to get aftermarket. And you're making them legal for tournament play with unique rules, so they can genuinely affect the build of decks. And then if you don't buy them in that window of buying the secret layer, like, that would be shitty. Even if if this was like Zendikar cards that were only coming in the secret layer, that would already be shitty, because you need to buy them in it kind of creates like a genuine pay to win scenario. I'm not saying that you'll actually win with the cards. Like, I don't know how good they are in play, but the fact is, in the right deck, any card can be really useful. Most cards can be really useful. And now you are, regardless of the IP mismanagement, you're now creating a scenario where, in a tournament, somebody who hasn't, for whatever reason, bought those secret layer cards, maybe they don't want Walking Dead cards, maybe they can't afford them, whatever, is facing somebody who did, and they're fundamentally playing a different game now. And that is a problem. That is a problem in game design. That's a problem in just creating a fair, fun tournament environment. It's a complete botched job on basically every level, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. And I think my biggest problem is the competitive angle of it, because you have a game like Magic, and any trading card game, they're hyper competitive, and that's the reason that Standard even exists, I would argue, is so that you can have a set meta without really changing the game. Like games like Yu-Gi-Oh, for instance, because I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh back when I was like, I don't know how old. Every deck was kind
25.
of no. I was like 13, 10, I don't know, somewhere in that age. I did do some Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments, but the problem with Yu-Gi-Oh is every deck was homogenized, right? There was no creativity or exploration. It's just you had the good cards or you didn't. That changes later on as you played Yu-Gi-Oh, but the problem is this is a small tiny story that's not really related. Stop me if you've heard it before. One time I told a friend I was like really into Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day. Like I stopped playing when I was like 14, but I still had all my cards. And he goes, "Hey, me too. Let's play." So he invites me over to his house and we start sitting down to play Yu-Gi-Oh, and he reveals by playing the game that he never stopped playing. And he has all the new cards, which fundamentally operate on a different level than I was playing. So I was just losing the game.
Yeah.
And that's how
Sucks.
and that's the game design of Yu-Gi-Oh is you have to keep up with the Joneses in that sort of sense if you want to stay competitive. In Magic, you don't with this sort of, standard format if you want to play competitive Magic. But when you're playing the casual formats like we do with the wide open cards, it just seems like, hey, build a fucking Walking Dead zombie deck. Come on, you'll love it. You're gonna miss out.
Well, even the thing you were talking about with that feeling of like then you're there with the guy who's got the good cards and you're like, cool, like what's the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're
the
fact is it's a total dick move, but the fact is, like, theoretically, if that was something that was important to you and you wanted to play more or whatever, you could then go like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna go pick up some new cards and get back into the game, and then you can build that deck. You can
you go buy the Yu-Gi-Oh singles.
You can go and play the homogenized Yu-Gi-Oh deck.
But like for me, like I had this thing where like I tried to play Magic way back in the day. I had a cousin who played it. I had like a couple decks. They bought me some cards, but I didn't have anybody else to play with, so I kind of fell off. And then when you guys all kind of got into it when we were living together, I got back into it, and I was like, oh, like now I have people to play the game with and people to talk to and blah blah blah. Imagine if like in that intervening time, that's when this happened, right? That's when these cards came out. And then I get into the game, and now I'm like, oh, I want to be a really big fan, and I want to invest in this game and in this world. And there's just these cards that I just can't buy. I just can't have them.
Yep.
For literally no reason. I just can't get them because I guess I wasn't around at the right time. Like what?
Yeah.
They're competitive cards. They're in the game. People can use them and beat me in tournaments, and then I can't use that strategy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fuck is that?
Jack, do you have any comments on that before I add any more?
I mean, yeah,
it's just shitty.
I don't know. The only majority problem I have with this fucking thing is just like, why they didn't need to say that these cards are even legal in all game type, like, and also why did they say that it's like legal in Commander as well? Like that's the shit that Wizards didn't need to touch, and they just like a little.
Yeah. I'm gonna touch on that too. So a couple of things I should point out. So we were talking about how these are legal in all non-rotating sets, and so right now, a lot of people before this even happened are already kind of under the influence that Magic is dying, at least paper Magic specifically. And that's just due to the inflammation in old cards that are expensive that aren't getting reprinted, making some of the rotate or non-rotating formats really expensive to get into. So like not a lot of people are playing Modern, not a lot of people are playing Legacy, not a lot of people are playing Pioneer, because in order to get a deck that's even mildly competitive, you're talking about spending $500+ on a deck, which just like isn't really viable for someone who wants to get into a hobby.
And it's just on lands.
And half the time it's just not even on the cards that are like the cards that are interesting are the cards with the cool creatures and the cool art and stuff on them. Not that lands aren't cool and don't have cool art in them, but sometimes it's like you see the creature, like you see the legendary creature. Like to be honest, I'll even use the Walking Dead example. You like have the Walking Dead card and you're like, cool, this is cool. I like the Walking Dead. I'm gonna build a deck around it, and then you have to spend like hundreds of dollars on fucking lands that just like make your deck more fucking like synergize better. Like it sucks. Like it's kind of shitty. And then standard is dying because Wizards is also not doing a great job there. There have been a lot of intentions with Standard not being a very fun format because a certain card just like absolutely breaks the meta. And then instead of banning that card that's breaking the meta that just came out, they ban like an older card that's like kind of part of the combo but doesn't really solve the problem. And it's very obvious it's because they don't want to lose sales on that card right now because it just released. So right now it's Omnath, the card that we let Jack take on Saturday.
Yeah.
Omnath is like breaking the standard meta, and they didn't ban him, and everyone was pissed because they're like, well, you just didn't ban him because he just came out and you don't want people to stop buying Zendikar packs, so fuck you. Like, what the hell? Anyways, so standard's dying, and even if people are playing standard, they're playing it on Magic Arena now. They're not playing it in paper, especially with COVID going on. No one's going to game stores and playing standard. They're going on Arena and just playing it that way because why wouldn't you? You can just play it from home, play it on your computer. It's so easy, right? Yeah. So the only set or the only format that leaves that people are still playing is Commander. So the thing that people are really pissed off about is that this set feels like it's specifically targeting Commander, because not only are these cards legal in Commander, but also they're all legendary creatures, so they can all be used as commanders or whatever, and they're the strongest form of paper Magic right now. It's like the only format people are playing.
I just saw them briefly, but aren't they all at least 2 colors?
One of them, actually, funny enough, Rick is mono white, and actually reading his rule text, so it's like a kind of ongoing joke that white is the weakest color in Commander. Rick is actually a really strong white commander.
Oh, okay,
if you read his rule text, he like when he enters the battlefield, you like pick 2 out of First Strike, Lifelink, and Vigilance. And then all humans get those 2, and then as long as you control 4 more humans, all humans get +2/+0, I think. Like, he's just a white human tribal leader, and he's a great card, but it's fucking Rick from Walking Dead, and I don't give a fuck. Like, it's like,
I want that to be some kind of like knight riding a griffin or some shit.
Well, a lot of people thought it should have been Odric, who's like that white soldier dude from Innistrad, and I have a couple different cards of Odric and stuff like that. Who he's kind of been like a human.
Marshall.
Yeah, he's kind of been a human tribal for a while. But anyways,
I'm not into Innistrad. I don't care about Innistrad.
So,
dude, Innistrad is your shit, man.
I love Innistrad a lot.
Fuck.
So, a lot of people are pissed off because it's very obvious that they're attacking Commander, and so and to now add on to what Jack was saying, so for those who don't know, Commander is the only format, at least the only popular format, that is not ruled by Wizards of the Coast. There's actually a rules committee, a community rules committee for Commander, because it's the community that decides on the rules. And so when these, really cool. No, it's really cool. Commander is totally a community-based game, but. So they also decide on the ban list and everything for Commander as well. And their criteria for most cards they've banned has essentially been like, hey, is this card problematic? Does it make like not playing Commander fun? Is essentially right. Like, does it make a broken combo? And Commander already is full of like ridiculously broken combos. They're totally legal. Right, like infinite combos, you just get infinite mana. Like literally, people can play like competitive EDH. If you don't win by turn 3, your deck is not optimized well enough. Like, it's like you're supposed to play like 3 cards. They give you infinite mana and just deal like ping them infinitely, and then that's like how you win. That's like how competitive it is. Yeah. But to be fair, when you have access to every single card in the history of Magic, that's gonna happen, right? So they play cards. So for instance, Jack has one of these cards. I think it's called Iona.
Yeah, Shield of Emeria.
Shield of Emeria. She's an angel, and when she enters the battlefield, you pick a color, and your opponents just can't play spells of that color.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's
that's
bullshit.
The card. Yeah, it's a pretty strong card. But there are some people who think that card shouldn't necessarily be banned because it can still be removed and targeted and stuff like that. But I understand why that one's banned. It can be problematic or whatever, right? You can see that. So when these cards were first announced from the secret lair, everyone in the Commander community was like, well, okay, rules committee, ban these fucking cards. Fuck that. Like, don't let Wizards of the Coast fucking tell us what cards are legal on our set. Just ban them. And the rules committee came back and they did not ban them. They had a really long article talking about how, and I will apologize in advance. I am just kind of like reiterating what they're saying. I'm not quoting the thing exactly because this is a very long article, but essentially they decided that these cards don't fall into the same reasoning that they ban cards as like say the rest of their ban list. Like the actual function of the cards are not problematic for Commander. And they were saying that they were looking at it from the point of view of someone who stumbled upon this card, like say you're a new player and someone gives you a collection and they like have this card and they go, wow, this is really cool. I love The Walking Dead. I want to build a deck around this. And then you go to play it and someone goes, oh, that's actually banned. And then they ask for the reason why and it didn't feel satisfactory. they were saying that like, you know, telling them that, you know, this card's banned because like the accessibility to it wasn't very high is unsatisfactory. And with that, I like to say, fuck that. That's bullshit. Because there's just a whole, like a lot of people have been pointing out that we had the one chance to basically go, hey, Wizards of the Coast, this isn't cool. And we had a fan community ruled thing that could decide to say, no, this isn't okay. And they decided not to. And it really feels like they're endorsing Wizards of the Coast. And in their article, they say they're not, but I'd argue that them not banning it is then endorsing it.
Well, actions
And
speak
saying
louder
it's
than
okay.
words, right?
Exactly.
They had a chance to do something about it, and they didn't. And so it doesn't matter what you say about it.
Yeah, exactly. And so like there's been a lot of outcry even before they announced their banning. They actually had a poll saying like, hey, do you want to see these bans? And it was like 96% to 4%. Like, yes. Like it was very obvious what the community wanted. And yeah, it's just not fun. Like nobody really understands why the cards weren't just like silver bordered. Because because Commander's a casual format, and so even when a card is banned or a card is like silver bordered or it's like some premium promo that's not legal or whatever, like 9 times out of 10 you can go to your play group and just go, hey, do you mind if I like use this card? And they'll go, oh yeah, sure, man, like fuck it. Like if you guys bought the Walking Dead cards and they were silver bordered and you said, hey, can I build a deck around this? I'd be like, fucking go for it, dude. Like, you do you. That sounds fucking rad. You make your Walking Dead deck card. I don't give a shit, right? We're not playing competitive. I don't give a fuck. Like, we're just playing for fun. That's, like, the whole point of Commander specifically. So I don't care. But the fact that that card is, like, legal and, like, I technically, like, can't say no to that card and it's a limited thing and, like, yeah, there's just so many... Like, I'm literally... forgetting all the different problematic things are with it because there are so many problematic things
it's like the perfect storm of all the worst possible ways that new cards can come out. It's really bad.
It's just weird. It feels like they made all the worst decisions. Like it just doesn't make any sense. And then they also said, the rules committee also said that they felt that like banning it until Wizards of the Coast decided to print more, like temporarily also, my alarm, also felt silly. And a lot of people were like, no, that makes a lot of fucking sense because now that you're not banning them, they're not going to do reprints. So you should have just banned them and then it would have forced Wizards of the Coast to at least make reprints of them and make them more accessible. But now they're not going to do that because they're not banned and you fricked it, right? And then also a lot of people were saying that like if you do reprints, so like the Godzilla cards, how like the Godzilla cards, if you got it, would say like Godzilla King of Monsters, and then in really small text it would say whatever the name of the actual card is. With this one, it would be the opposite. If they did like alt art for these cards, they would have like a magic art on it, and then in small text it would be like Rick, the leader or whatever, and you're like, what the hell? This is so weird.
You get this card, it's like Loriath the Undying, and it's like Rick.
So yeah, yeah, it's really stupid. It's dumb.
We lost Sean.
We lost Sean. Bye, Sean.
Lost Sean.
And it's just such a problematic thing, and I keep getting ads for it on my social medias.
Dude, I fucking hate it.
And every single time I do it, I like give it like an angry face on Facebook, and I comment it being like, "This fucking sucks, fuck you." And like every time I'll see someone in the comments being like, "Are these legal?" And I'm like, "Yep."
I hope that not everybody buys them. Like seriously.
Like, well, this is the other problem. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jack.
No, I was gonna say like I know the community doesn't want them, obviously. So like I just hope that like relatively low amount of people just purchase the actual thing itself. Like I know people will buy just because like it's an exclusive thing, and that's what usually some people like to do.
And if they like The Walking Dead, they're gonna.
Yeah, and if they like The Walking Dead, then sure, and then like yeah, I get it. But like at the same time, I just hope like there's a small amount of orders, and then Wizards be like, hey, you know, like 100 people only ordered this, so maybe I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is I hope for that as well, obviously, but I think especially in like the video game community, we've seen that like the negative response has to be really overwhelming because community sentiment for a game can be like really, really low and really, really down, but enough people, you know, the whales are like supporting those things that they still make enough money to make it worth it. And, you know, Brandon, you said that, you know, they did the vote of whether it should be banned and it was like 96-4 or whatever the number was. And if 4% of people, of all the people who in the Magic community still buy those cards, hey Sean, if only 4%, but like enough people are playing Magic, maybe they decide that that's worth it. Maybe some of those people buy multiple sets because they want to be able to sell them off later at a markup or like whatever, right? Like I'm just really nervous that enough people that they'll still make enough money off of this that they won't get the message. And it's hard to say because like, you know, sometimes it works. Like going to the video game example, like Star Wars Battlefront 2 was like enough of a negative backlash that they actually went back in and like retooled the game. But enough games come out that don't do that, where everybody's like, wow, this thing really sucks, man. But enough people are like buying loot boxes or whatever whatever the hell it is that like they can ride out the bad PR because they're still making their money and they don't care.
Yeah,
and I
like
really hope that doesn't happen here.
Yeah, like EA for Battlefront 2, EA's last several games have all been totally void of microtransactions and any outside purchases, probably for that exact reason.
Their last couple Star Wars games.
That's just Star Wars games, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
Let's be clear.
We're not going to sports.
Let's be clear.
Yeah. And that's probably because of that backlash. What I'd say is like the one good thing from all this, but like there's still games like even the Avengers game that came out that has microtransaction in it, and though they're morally better, they're still not good. It just kind of sucks. And other companies are still doing it all the time. What was I going to add to that? I was going to say something about, you were talking about Battlefront 2. Ah, crap. No, I lost my point talking about Battlefront 2. Damn it. Yeah.
Not bad.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, it's just weird. This whole secret lair thing, it just sucks. It's super predatory. And like, it's just, crap. I'm totally blanking on what I was going to say.
Frick.
Talking about, I can't remember. But yeah, it's been like a whole ride. That's what I was gonna say. Is that like, even if you have, so say there was like 1 million people that voted on that poll, like 96.4%, that's still 40,000 sales on that secret lair for that 4% that decide to buy that, right? And there's well more than 1 million Magic players, like people who purchase Magic. There are millions. It's like I'd argue it's probably the biggest game in the world, to be completely honest with you. So even with that 4% being like, hey, I don't mind it, they're probably gonna still sell a lot. Yeah. And on top of that, the thing I was going to say is that, I'm blanking again. Oh my god, I think I'm having a stroke. What the hell? 4%. Oh, yeah. Is that like the Wizard of the Coast argued that like their like argument backwards was like, oh, well, we want to sell this because we want to pull Walking Dead fans into Magic. But that makes no sense because, first of all, what person who's never heard of Magic is going to then buy like a $40 premium thing that comes with like 5 cards?
Someone who's really into Walking Dead.
Yeah, but they would have to be really, really into Walking Dead. But this is the thing, is I find that I think more often than not, the people who are going to buy them are either people who are already playing Magic and they're into Walking Dead. So first off, they already had the sale from them, so they didn't have to do a Walking Dead card, if that makes any sense, right? They could have just made more Magic product because they're already playing Magic. Or secondly, it's going to be people who are so into the Walking Dead, they don't give a shit about Magic. They're just like, hey, look how cool these Walking Dead cards are. And then maybe down the road, if I decide to play Magic, I have Walking Dead cards. But they're buying it only because it's Walking Dead. And they're probably going to go in a fucking frame, put on their wall, and then that's it. They're not going to get moved at all. Right?
Anybody who's like into sort of like the general geek community enough to know that, like, anybody who's a big enough Walking Dead fan and is also in the community enough to know that these like limited edition cards are even being made of Magic the Gathering, even if they buy the cards like you said just to have as a collection and like put them in a frame and like, oh, these cool cards, they're unlikely to then go like, well, I guess I play Magic now, better go make a deck.
yeah
Because if they know about Magic enough by now already to know that these cards were made in the limited time window that they could have gotten them, but haven't played Magic yet, this probably isn't enough to get them in because they just don't play Magic.
Yeah.
and you should be making products for people who are interested in Magic. Like, obviously, finding ways to show people why Magic is interesting and like get it out there is a good thing. But you have to get it out there to people who would be interested but don't know about it.
Yeah.
That's what you need to try to find ways to do.
Yeah.
This is not that.
And it's sad because I feel like they did the right thing with the Godzilla stuff. Like that was like, oh yeah, like Godzilla, that's cool. And I got super, and to be funny enough, I actually didn't really care for Ikoria as a set. I didn't really care for the mechanics and the other cards that were put into it. But I was super down with the Godzilla card, so I actually went and bought a couple of them, and I have a Godzilla card in my dinosaur deck. And I think that's really cool. But at the end of the day, like you can get that card without the Godzilla art on it, and they're also accessible. Like I was able to go to my local game store and buy it for $10. Right? But after next week, I'm never going to be able to get those Walking Dead cards.
Mm.
Yeah, but I
Ever.
think also a lot of people are buying it just so that they could resell it.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's also a thing where maybe it's like they feel like they want to have people have those cards, so like they just buy it so that they could resell it to other people. Like,
Yeah.
hey, like if you really want these cards, I have them. But also, again, it's not great because you're buying it from Wizards for full price and you're selling it cheaper.
Yeah, and then there's like the whole thing with Secret Lairs where like they're already avoiding the market, they're already avoiding the local game store thing, and that's like really pissing off a lot of people because that's like where the community is and like where a lot of that kind of like back and forth economy of Magic cards happen, right? It's like Wizards goes, hey, we're gonna print it. I mean, it costs them pennies to print these things, right? When they sell them, they're making crazy profits. And then the game store gets to open a bunch of packs, and then they get to sell them at a slightly higher profit, and then they come back for their tournaments, and they keep making money that way, and like it's just like a whole ecosystem. But as soon as Wizards of the Coast avoids the local game store, they're totally avoiding that economy, and it just sucks. It's killing it, right?
Well, and like Wizards is gonna make money off merchandise, right? Like licensing rights. If you want to get like a Jace action figure, like you're buying that in the box, like that's money that's going to Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
And also like it's the whole genre of game, they're called trading card games.
Yeah.
Like the whole point is to go to your local game store and open packs with your buddies and be like, oh, I got this, you got that, I need this for my, like we do that all the time. Like that's part of why I even play the game is like it's like a way to hang out with you guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a way to socialize and do nerdy shit together. So we go to the game store and we all buy like 3 boosters and we open them. We're like, oh shit, I need that giant for this deck I'm building, and you need this fucking elf, like here, right? That's part of the game. And then game stores facilitate that on a bigger scale, and then you're just getting rid of that.
There's a reason why I'd argue the next most popular way to play after Commander is just draft. It's just going in, buying the new set, buying some packs, opening them up, building a quick little deck, having fun, and looking at the new art and like playing a game. Like honestly, Kelly, I know you weren't with us when we played this. We played a draft last Saturday with my cousins, and like I know it's only my second draft ever, but I kind of get why draft is so popular. It's a lot of fun.
And
like,
dude, we played draft that time and it was really fun.
Yeah, like the amount of cards that you use in a set that like are not viable in tournament play because they're just really slow and like don't work very well are great in the draft environment. Like I was pulling some cards where I'm like, damn, like I would have died so fast if I didn't have this card. But if I look at this card and look at it objectively next to everything else, it's hot garbage. Like there are so many better versions of this card, but because of the way it fits into the ecosystem of that specific set, it's like super fun. And so I get why draft is a lot of fun now, and it's a really cool way to just kind of like play games that never played before, but also then get new cards to put in your collection and maybe put into new decks and stuff. But yeah, this whole Walking Dead thing isn't part of that economy. It's not part of that community. It's just like it's so obvious that it was targeted for Commander players. Because like there's like the chances of these cards becoming like a meta card in like Modern or something like that is probably next to none.
The cards aren't that great.
No, like these are like, don't get me wrong, they're fun cards. They have really cool mechanics. Like Negan has his whole thing is that like when you play him, actually I'll just bring it up because then you guys can even just read it. Where is it here?
Yeah, like I really kind of want to play with the mechanics of these cards, but I don't want to buy Walking Dead characters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I just hope that they, like, if they do get reprinted, I hope they get new art.
Yeah.
Eventually.
So this is Negan the Cold-Blooded. When Negan enters the battlefield, you and target opponent each secretly choose a creature that player controls. Then those choices are revealed, and that player sacrifices those creatures. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a creature, you create a treasure token. So it's like a treasure economy, sacrifice economy. You make your opponent sacrifice creatures, you get treasure for it, get more mana, and do that. Really, really cool card. Something else I should mention about this card, though, I think this ability is actually in reference to something that happens in the show. I think he like makes someone choose someone to live, and then he like kills the other one or something. I was not watching the show at that point, so spoilers. Sorry, spoilers.
I think Negan's known to be a jackass. So
I think Negan kills Glenn. I'm pretty sure, who's the blue-white card in the set. But yeah, anyways.
How dare you?
But the other thing that's problematic with Negan is that his character in the show is like a eugenicist, and I'm pretty sure he's a rapist too. So there's like a whole other series of problems when you're getting so when some people were like, oh, I was waiting for this to happen when they saw the Godzilla cards, and I'm like, but Godzilla is like, yes, it takes place on Earth, but it's a fantasy. You're talking about giant monsters that come out of the ocean and shit, and they're essentially like dragons and dinosaurs and shit. Like, it's fucking fantasy, right? People were problematic with the set that's coming next year, which is literally the Dungeons and Dragons set. It's taking place in Forgotten Realms, and people don't like that that's not a Magic IP. And at the end of the day, I go, but that could be though. Like, it's just like another Magic plane. It's a fantasy world. Like, that doesn't really bother me. I get why it does bother people, but it doesn't bother me, right? It's like this. It makes sense from Magic. It's a fantasy world with wizards and dragons and all that kind of shit. Like,
Rid
fucking
Stewardon's a planeswalker. Get over it.
But with The Walking Dead, it's like this, like a zombie apocalypse is something like people in this world legitimately are scared of. It's an actual problem, some people think, right? We are literally in the middle of a pandemic. These are things people are scared of, right? So it's the fact that like this setting is like this grounded, like very real feeling thing, and then you have this character who's like a real fucking asshole and like actually like a criminal, and
like
you just
genuine,
put him on
like villain,
like a genuine villain, right? And I think the rules committee actually responded with this when they were talking about they're not banning the commander. They were saying they didn't find Negan problematic because there are also villains in Magic, and I'm like, yeah, because Wizards of the Coast came out and explicitly showed you that Nicol Bolas is a fucking rapist. Like, that's so stupid.
Nicol Bolas's cartoon villainy of I want to dominate the world, and Negan, I murder, rape, and kill people.
Yeah, like the most like
those are not
the most like
comparative at
evil
all.
and dark that any villain in Magic, and I could be wrong. To be fair, I could be wrong. I do not know the lore as extensively as probably some other people. But as dark and villainous as like Nicol Bolas is he wants to destroy worlds and destroy planes, which is very cartoony. And then he wants he controls the mind of someone else and like makes them murder someone else. But like controlling minds to begin with is then also just like I'm not worried about someone controlling my mind. Like, it's a very Magic fantasy thing. Right, so it's just when you have someone who's like legitimately a rapist and believes in like eugenics and stuff, and it's just like,
well, like let's put it this way for like a big like pop culture reference, right? Nicol Bolas is Thanos, and Negan is the Purple Man from Jessica Jones season 1.
Oh yeah.
Like, Thanos is he's like a threat and he's scary and you want to fight him or whatever. But he's like this big purple cartoon alien. They're both purple. That's weird. But he's like this big purple cartoon alien who wants to like destroy half of all life in the universe, right? Like, it's preposterous.
Yeah.
But then the Purple Man is this like absolutely horrifying, like, he only affects that we see like a small handful of people, but he's way worse.
Like, way more intimate, right? Like, it's
way more intimate
like,
and dark, and like it speaks to like real world abuse that people go through, and it's like a genuine like character trauma story. And so like
like it's shit you watch and you get triggered, right? Because you're like, holy shit, like that's stuff that I've dealt with or I know people have dealt with, but you don't know anyone who's had meteors thrown at them by a man.
Exactly.
You're just not as cosmic as me, Brandon, so lay off. Okay.
Obviously.
Go to space.
And so like if you want to like play as Thanos in some like Avengers, like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, I'm like, yeah, that's fair. He's got laser blast, he's a big old punch boy, whatever. But if you want to like, I get to play as the Purple Man, I'm like, what's wrong with you? You know?
My favorite villain's Kilgrave.
And it's like that kind of thing. It's like, Nicol Bolas is a villain, but like he's like twirling mustaches and like tying maidens down on railroad tracks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, like,
And you can find these villains interesting. I don't think that's problematic either. Like you can like these characters because at the end of the day they are just like characters in a storytelling medium, and like that's fine.
and you can appreciate Negan as a villain and think he's really well written, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan is a great actor, so like that's a whole
Yeah, exactly.
that's
right.
totally valid.
I think that's something
it's
else.
also contextualized by its source material,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
you know the sort of thing that you're going in for when you watch The Walking Dead. It's this grounded, realistic. The villains are going to be people who do awful things to people.
Yeah.
When you play Magic as a child with the 3+ sticker on it, you're not like, who's Negan?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Like
it's a trading card game for kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
It's fucked up.
It's really fucked up, and like a lot of people have had problems with like, yeah, it's disrespectful to the artists of Magic. It's disrespectful to the lore that Magic works a lot really hard on, right? Like it's and like I kind of really thought about this now, but like now we have like real people on the faces of Magic cards, which we have had before because it used to be that when people used to win mythic championships, they would design a card after them and put them on a card, which is like different. It's a little
totally
different, right?
That's
right,
like
like
it's a real person, like an
yeah,
actual
like
person.
the first example is Snapcaster Mage, I think, which is like a fucking expensive as hell card.
It is.
But the original copy of Snapcaster Mage has like the champion from the previous year's Mythic Championship. Which is just a lot of fun. But I didn't know that looking at the card. Looking at the card, it's just like a dude. Like it's just this guy, like this cool wizard dude, but with context, it's like, oh, that's the guy who won last year.
Also, that's like, you know, that's respecting the community and creating this like exciting thing, and it does respect the people and like what the community make the game what it is. And so here's this like fun way that the community literally and figuratively is shaping the game and changing the game. Like this card exists because of this player, and like that's a really cool thing, whereas opposed to like this which is just like a corporate deal that somebody in a suit signed off on because they were like, yeah, Walking Dead's popular, let's do that, and it has no context or grounding within the actual like fiction or within the community, and it's completely like an extrinsic thing that was just bolted on.
Yeah, and they're like all actors, so it's like, yeah, you pull that card out and you're like, wait, is this the guy from Watchmen?
Yeah.
What the heck? Right? And it's just like it's weird, right? Like it's like you have famous people on Magic cards now, and that just feels...
It's kind of funny because I get that when I'm playing video games sometimes. Like Norman Reedus in Death Stranding.
Right,
I'm, like,
yeah.
super aware of the fact that I'm playing as Norman Reedus.
I guess that hasn't happened very often where we've played as pretty well-known celebrities. Like that's probably one of the first bigger instances of that.
It's kind of distracting, and like it'll happen in video games and stuff. Like for whatever reason, like I know Mass Effect had a couple, like the elusive man just like is Charlie Sheen. Not Charlie, Martin Sheen. Martin Sheen, yeah. And
he's not a warlock.
And the one person, I don't know her name, but is Yvonne Strahovski.
Miranda, yeah.
And like it's already kind of weird when you're like interacting with them on your own terms in a video game where like some people are like completely fictional faces and then other people are like,
and you can like
real people.
You can sleep with Miranda.
You can sleep with them. It's like really weird. And then it's like it's another thing when you're playing as them, and like, you know, the people who made the game had the option to just make a fictional face.
Yeah.
But they just made a person's face that you're then controlling.
Yeah.
Which is just like bizarre, and like it creates this weird disconnect because you're like,
and then they can
know
change
that you're Norman
the
Reedus.
face for Spider-Man.
Oh, don't even get me started.
They can rip his
don't even
face
get me
off.
started on the Spider-Man face.
Plug another face on there.
Yeah.
But to be fair, but this is actually in defense of the PS4 Spider-Man change.
No.
Is that with that though, because mocap technology is changing all the time, the closer you can get to the realness of the actor, the more accurate animation and acting you can get from the performance. So yes, Sean?
No,
that's not true. No.
Well,
you don't know anything about mocap.
I know enough. I've
Yeah.
actually taken a mocap class. Have
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
you
can
kept it
vouch. He's worn a mocap suit and been in the volume. That's
Fuck
true.
that.
you?
Got you,
You.
How many years ago was
Brandon.
that?
Fuck you, Brandon. How many years ago since you have been at Jackass school yesterday?
Dude, burnt.
Got him.
Got me.
Got
Get
I
him.
need some ice.
When you,
Shit.
when you going to SawCon, these nuts. Got him.
Oh my god.
Anyway, my point is, Brandon, you're wrong about the Spider-Man. Don't try and defend it. I'm mad at you for trying. But yes, I understand your point. Yes.
Right, like with that shit, like if we're contrasting it with putting an actor's face on an piece of art like a card versus like putting an actor in an actual like animated thing like a video game, there's a reason for putting an actor in there and making it look like the actor is because they can really start bleeding that line between what is a video game and what looks really real. Like the technology is advancing and they're trying to create that kind of seamless kind of like, is this a video game or is this a movie? Like, are you right? Like that's like the goal with graphics and animation in video games and in film is to make it more and more real, right? But that's not the design of a Magic card. We want to be pulled into the art and the world of the Magic card to escape the real world. What the fuck is this? Why do I have these people on my Magic cards? This is weird, right? So, even though it's still weird in video games, I understand why it happens in video games and why people are okay with it in video games versus this, which is strange. But that's not even the worst problem with these cards, so whatever. There's so many bigger problems with these cards.
Part of the whole fucking situation.
But yeah, so far the community is like they're outlashing, they're like coming up with alternatives. And I think Jack's part of it too. We're part of the Play EDH Discord, and it's like a huge community. Like it's essentially if you want to play Commander remotely online, that's where you're going. You're going to the Play EDH Discord. You're joining them. You get your deck like ranked into a certain tier, and then you look for games and you have fun and you just use a webcam and like play with people online. Their response was essentially, at the end of the day, they are not the Commander's rules committee, so they didn't feel comfortable making the ban that the rules committee didn't, but they immediately banned Negan, specifically because they felt that his card and his character was problematic, and they did not want that card in the community. So from like a rules standpoint, I understand their take being like, we are not the rules committee. Like we're not going to say no to a player that comes in here and has these cards and wants to play, but we are going to say no to Negan because it's literally triggering our members.
Yeah.
So no that card, which I thought was huge. Another person that had a really big outcry was I think Jack, and I think Sean's seen some of his videos, is Mitch from Commander's Quarters. So he has a channel. He's called Commander's Quarters because he literally makes budget deck lists for Commander, and he does a really, really good job. He makes like competitive level decks that are like under $100. Like he does a really, really great job.
Yeah, there's just one deck I want to buy. It's $40. It looks...
Yeah, he does. It's amazing. But anyways, he had, when the cards were first announced, he made a video called "Wizards is Dead to Me." And he essentially did the same thing we're doing here. He talked about all the reasons why these cards are problematic and why they shouldn't be silver bordered, or why they should be banned, or why they shouldn't even exist to begin with, yada, yada, yada. He then made a follow-up video saying that the rules committee should ban these cards and list all the reasons. And then he had another video where after the rules committee announced that they didn't ban them, and he actually got like really emotional, was talking about how, the rules committee essentially failed because they had the opportunity to protect their community and they didn't. And then kind of as like a joke in the middle of that video, he created the captain format, which was the exact same thing as Commander, but except the Walking Dead cards were banned. But he called it captain. He's like, yeah, and it's a really funny video because literally the whole video is just him explaining the rules, but it's just Commander. He's like, yeah, you pick your captain and they have a color identity, and then you can only have cards in your deck with that same color, and you can only have one of any card, and yada yada. And it was pretty funny.
Well, I was actually gonna say, like, I could totally see when you were talking about that Discord community, I was like, you could totally see, it becoming a big enough thing where people are basically playing Commander, but those cards are banned, where you almost have like a second format that's just that. And then this guy did that. So that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah. And yeah, and it's just been downhill from there. Like a lot of people come out also saying that they like a lot of big people in the community, like the professor and like some other big Magic content creators have really come out being like they really are scared for Paper Magic right now. They really do think it's downhill, and it's just, I think everything's just happening at a much faster rate because of the quarantine. Like stores, especially in the States, like we have stores here who are having like protective game nights because like it's not as bad here, but like in the States, like stores still aren't open for Friday Night Magic and for draft and for tournaments. Like those aren't happening at all, right? So it's just like, oh, you already given me a reason to not play Paper Magic, and now these cards are really shitty. We're not gonna play Paper Magic, right? So it's been really, really crappy, and yeah, who knows? I think the community is probably going to turn around and just kind of go, yeah, we're not playing these cards. Like it's bullshit. They're not allowed.
Magic's always been one of those things about play groups anyway, especially with Commander in terms of the rules committee.
Yeah,
like you're gonna get from one sort of play group to another that's just like, you know, we don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on all the fetch lands, so the moment one of us starts doing it, we'll all do it. So let's just not do it. You're going to get those people just as much as you're going to get people who are like, these cards are kind of shitty and they're a little problematic and none of us have bought them, so let's just not use them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and like even with our I would say even if one person did buy fetch lands, I'd probably only do that to one deck. And then I wouldn't even use that deck when I play with you guys because like that's just not fair. Like that's kind of like why would I keep wanting to play a deck that just fucking obliterates and doesn't have any fun, right? Like you can adjust the game to the way you want.
Sounds good to me. I'm just winning all the time. What's the problem?
Not would you continue wanting to win if I just kept leaving the table after the first turn?
Would I win?
No. Would you enjoy playing?
Oh, I mean, would you leaving mean that I won?
You're
no,
the worst.
I wouldn't like it. Of course.
You're the worst. No, exactly, right?
Competition, like, again, my whole thing about, like, enjoying Commander is I get too invested in the game that when my board state gets obliterated or I lose, I get, like, a little too disheartened.
I see. Your emotional state when we play Commander is dangerous, Sean. Like if you pull a crappy hand, you'll stay at a low, and then as soon as you pull that good card, you're like I can tell how fucking excited you get, and then as soon as someone blows your board state, your body language is just like, oh, is it my turn?
Yeah. Well, it's because I get so I'm building, and I get so there's like a point of the game. It's usually around turn 7 where I get so invested, and then I'm like, oh shit, am I doing good? And then I'm like, oh no, I'm having fun. And then it gets fucking knocked down, and it literally just like, oh, I shouldn't have invested so much of myself into this game. I'm losing.
Well, it's like the whole Soul Ring thing, right? It's like whoever ramps hardest first is always the first one getting knocked out. And the same with the board state, right? If you're the one with the big board state, you're gonna get knocked down a peg. That's just what happens.
That's okay. That's okay. I just need to be okay at losing.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I am sometimes. It just depends on the day.
You gotta be in the right mood.
But
exactly.
Magic Wizards of the Coast has already been in a lot of shit for like not making their cards accessible, regardless of these fucking premium products are only available for a week. So Sean, you just mentioned. I'm watching you, Sean. You just mentioned like fetch lands and shock lands. So for those who don't know, these are like really fancy lands that they just synergize the best out of all the lands in the whole game. But they were printed in the original Zendikar block, which I want to say was like in 2008, like somewhere way before we were playing, at least from what we're playing now, and way after I ever originally played Magic, but that's besides the point. And there's these really good lands. And now if you ever want to get into any of the other formats like Modern or Pioneer or Legacy, these are like staples. Like you cannot have a competitive deck without having fetch lands in them. And because they were so scarce, we're talking like $300+ a card. Like it's so fucked, right? So if you need a play set of any one fetch land, you're looking at like $1,200. Like it's just ridiculous. Like it's just so much money, right? So that is one thing that the community has always been like, Wizards, fuck you, reprint them. Wizards, fuck you, reprint them. Reprint the fetch lands. Come on, reprint them. And then they announced that they're doing Zendikar again. And they're like... Again. And they're like, all right, Wizards, come on. Zendikar, here's a chance. Do fetch lands. Come on, you can do it. I believe in you. Come on, fetch lands. Technically, they did it.
Technically.
But...
Don't lie
they're
to them.
only available as box toppers if you buy a full box of packs, which is like 32 packs, and 32 packs and costs like $150 Canadian. Or if you buy, I think there's a chance to pull them in the theme booster, or no, the collector's boosters. There's a chance to pull them in collector's boosters, which again are like a premium product that are meant to be for whales. Like you buy the premium product and you have a higher chance of getting like alt art cards, foils, more rares, yada yada yada. It's bullshit. And like to be at least slight fair and give all the facts, it has dropped the price of fetch lands. So these fetch lands go for more like $60-$70 a card as opposed to $300+ a card. And $60 a card is still a lot of money, but as far as like modern is concerned and the price range of cards you need for modern is way more accessible, or if you want to get to that old school competitive format. Yeah. But it's still bullshit. I don't see why they couldn't have just printed them as the rare lands in this set and just made them standard legal and just made them the rare cards, because they would have dropped down to like $6.
Well, mechanically, there's no reason, but it's because they want that FOMO, man. They want you to feel like you have to drop like fat stacks of cash to get these cards you want. Like game design and community appreciation be damned.
And the bullshit part is that like they didn't even make the fetch lands the only thing you get in a box topper. Like I bought a box and I didn't get a fetch land. I got like a different kind of land that's still good, but it's like a $20 land and not a fucking $70-$80 land. Yeah. Like it's just... to be fair, they're also not standard legal, so like they're really literally just there for the people who want to collect and build a collection for like older formats, but still shitty, still super shitty, and it just doesn't make any fucking sense to me, because me and several other content creators on YouTube and stuff like that will point out time and time again, not one of these cards costs any more to print than any other one. They all cost them probably literally under $1 to print. Mm-hmm. Probably, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if it was less than a cent to print one of these cards, because you print them in sheets, right? They're in a fucking factory. They just get chucked out in sheets. You're just paying for paper. You get a fucking PDF of all the goddamn cards, all the art. You put on a big sheet, you print it out, and then they cut. Mm-hmm. Yep. Probably costs some pennies. It probably costs more for them to do the packaging and shipping than it does the actual product itself, right? Mm-hmm. It just sucks, and it really disheartens me from like wanting to continue playing Magic. But another thing that's been happening is a lot of people, especially in like, you know, like the Commander subreddit and like in the Play DH Discord and all that kind of stuff, they're being like, hey, at the end of the day, you still got your cards, and you can go to your game store and buy old cards from them and all that shit, and none of that now goes to Wizards of the Coast. Like Wizards of the Coast has already made their money off those old cards. So you go in your local game store and buying singles off them and trading with your friends doesn't help Wizards of the Coast at all, and you can still enjoy your game. You can still have fun with your friends playing the game you want. Just fucking ignore the new shit. And I'm like, sounds good to me, man.
Well, that's kind of the thing, right? And it comes up a lot in discussions of video games.
I just want to add, I do have to wrap up in 10 minutes.
Okay. Then I'll make this brief. But it comes up a lot in discussions of video games where, like, you know, you go, okay, sure, you're making like money now quickly because you like, I don't know, like lied to people or whatever. Let's use like Anthem as an example, right? Yeah. You literally made a fake trailer that like you said was gameplay, but it literally wasn't. Like it's a CGI trailer that's made it look like gameplay.
To be fair, they got it pretty close when they released the game.
Don't lie.
You do all these things to like get your people to buy in. You've got your pre-order bonuses and your ultra deluxe editions and like all your shit, right? Then the game comes out and everybody goes, wow, this thing's fucking trash. Why did you make this? Why did I spend money on it? And then you erode that goodwill. So like originally like Dragon Age 4 would have been like if you said like 5 years ago, oh yeah, like Dragon Age 4 is coming out. People like that would have been a slam dunk. That would have been like no question. People are buying Dragon Age 4. But the trust and the faith in BioWare to make the game that you expect Dragon Age 4 to be has eroded. And I think the same thing's happening with Wizards with Magic, because sure, you might get those whales and you might get the people invested and they're going to spend the money and you're gonna make that like that quick cash off this like limited edition ultra rare fucking secret layer bullshit, but you're eroding the overall community's faith in the game
Yeah.
Mhm.
to the point where the game is gonna be in decline, and it's like this fucking Roman Empire shit where you were too like high on your own, sniffing your own farts to realize that you were eroding everything below you.
Yeah.
And it just really sucks because sure, you're gonna make less money right now immediately, but the game is gonna live longer, or the
Yeah.
product is gonna live longer if you just like
Long-term investment.
Yeah.
treat
There's-
people
Yeah.
playing your game like actual fucking human beings and
Yeah.
not like wallets that you're just trying to take all the money out of.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there is a reason that Magic has been lasting so long because it kind of avoided these tactics. They're just focused on making a good game
Yeah.
and making good art to go along with these cards. And then I don't know. I guess Hasbro bought them up, and now they're like money now. Money. now, though.
Capitalism. Yeah.
Money.
Put a big font across the screen. Capitalism. Yeah, a couple of things I wanted to point out was that yeah, Wizard of the Coast is it's just been slimy a lot recently, and it just kind of sucks. And oh my god, I'm blanking again. No, why does this keep happening? It's warm in this fucking room.
You gotta keep a little notepad going, man.
I do have one next to me, and I'm just refusing to use it
Well,
for
that's
some
your
fucking
problem right
stupid
there.
That
reason.
is your problem.
You ask why it's happening, you're doing it to yourself.
What was I going to say? You were talking about the problematic cards or problematic games. Yeah, I don't know. Wizards, yeah, it's just all fucking shitty. It's all fucking capitalism. I want money. Hello, chat. Oh shit,
Hello.
Jordan rated us. Thank you, Jordan. I feel really bad because we're gonna wrap it up here pretty quick. But we're just talking about problematic companies and the shit in their the shit they do to try and get you to make the sale. Something I was gonna say is that I think something that I've been a little bit better about but haven't gotten really good at is like not buying into the hype of like game trailers and like all that kind of shit, and like the four of us haven't really bought onto the whole pre-order thing in a long time, and I think the entire gaming community has, because the pre-order thing hasn't been as strong as it used to be. Man, I remember like 360 era, like, oh, it was just brutal. Like every fucking game was like, hey, buy now and you'll get that skin.
Yeah.
And it was just brutal. And like they still have that now where it's like, oh, if you buy the digital deluxe edition versus the standard edition or whatever, you'll get that. But yeah, it's just brutal. Like I want to be better about letting the product come out, see what people think, and then purchase it with my money because I think it's a good product.
Yeah. I mean, that's
getting on the hype
honestly
train.
why I waited to buy Marvel's Avengers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was just like, I just want to see if the game's going to be good or not. And like, it didn't impress me with like any of the stuff leading up to the game's release, and then the game released, and I was like, sounds like it needs more work. Like literally every live service game that's been ever launched ever. Same thing with Destiny, same thing with Anthem, same thing with The Division. It's just you get like 15 hours into a game that should have content for 150, and it just feels shallow after that. Because they didn't make those 15 hours like top notch. They made them like okay. Yeah, exactly. And it's because it's supposed to be repeated.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, well then give me 150 hours worth of that content, and then it's shaky at best.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other discussion that we don't have time for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe
There was
next
some.
week.
There was maybe next week. Yeah. There was something I was gonna say about just like companies, and I was gonna be like, yeah, that's a whole other fucking problem, but I can't remember what the hell it was. But it was just, it's just brutal. Capitalism sucks, man. It's the
Dude,
worst.
Moral of the story:
God.
fuck capitalism, eat the rich, burn everything down.
Peace. See ya.
But, like,
Yeah. Ugh.
I'm still very Kelly's just like, fuck you.
You break your
Oh my
keyboard
God.
or it doesn't matter.
Sean just leaves the chat again. It just disappears. Like, where'd he go? Where did he go?
Just snaps his laptop in half.
Oh man. There you are. Oh, we can't hear you. Why can't we hear you?
Because I snapped
Oh, there you
my
go.
chat.
Oh my god, so ridiculous. Well, I think I think we're about to wrap this up here. I think we kind of got the gist of it. That the shit that Wizards of the Coast is doing right now is just not fun. It's really shitty. It's really predatory. It sucks. That was the thing I was gonna say. Is Wizards of the Coast? I remember now. Wizards of the Coast. They're very aware of the meta of the economy. Like they know that like Shocklands sell for $300+ a card, and so they go, oh, let's sell them for 50, right? Let's sell them for $50, and then we'll still make 5,000% profit on that fucking thing, 500% profit on that damn thing. But everyone will be like, oh, thank you, Wizards, you made it cheaper, wow. But at the end of the day, it still costs them 10 cents to fucking print. So fuck you guys, right? Yep. The other thing they did really recently that's really not fun is they stopped putting MSRP on their products. So for those of you who don't know, or like, to be honest, I don't really know that well because I was only in sales for a while, but this is the gist I get. So MSRP, when a company makes a product, they usually create what's called a MAP and an MSRP. MSRP is short for a market suggested retail price. And it's essentially them going, hey, this is probably the best price to sell it at, and usually it's double the cost of it. So it's like if you buy a thing for $5, usually MSRP will be like $10. Like you can make 50% off this product. And usually when you're like a private, like a small company or a small business or something, that's kind of what you aim to do. You sell things at MSRP, and then MAP is essentially the price that they say this is the lowest you're allowed to sell it for. If you sell it for any cheaper, we're gonna flag you, and we might even like stop you from buying our product because we don't want you to like outsell our competition by scooping really low and selling it really low. And I remember when we were at that House Knives, we always had to like abide by these rules and everything. And so most people, like most larger companies and most stores in general, usually it was like somewhere in between, if not just at MAP. Like it was like you sell somewhere between, you sell at MAP. If you're a smaller company, you kind of need the extra bump. You kind of sell at MSRP, yada, 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 somewhere in there, right? But it also helps control the economy, right? Because then you're telling all your suppliers to sell in this price gap. And so then nothing inflates or nothing goes under. And so it kind of keeps this like moderated field where it's like, yes, this product, so say like a pre-constructed starter deck, this product is worth $20 and it's never going to inflate more than 25 or go less than 15 kind of a thing, right? But Wizards stopped doing that with their products. They just went, hey, here's the thing. It costs this much. Obviously, some stores won't reveal how much it costs to buy booster boxes from Wizards or whatever. Here it is. Sell it for whatever you want. And so then you kind of have all these stores and online sellers and everything kind of like trying to compete with each other. And so the price gets low, but then it gets so low that they can't afford to keep it that low. So then it inflates and gets really expensive. So then you see the other stores go, okay, well, if you're selling it for that much, we're going to sell it for that much. And it just like inflates everything. So more often than not, these products that keep coming out, they're like, oh, the last time they came onto the scene, they were like $20, but now they're like $30. Oh, now they're like $35. Like, what is happening? And so the price just keeps like competing with itself and inflating, and it's shitty. It sucks because they can't fall back and go, oh, Wizards of the Coast suggests its retail price. They don't have a suggested retail price for these products anymore.
Yeah,
they just let the community decide what price it is.
Which if you let a bunch of people who are all trying to compete decide the price, it's never going to stabilize.
Yeah.
And the only people that suffer are the consumers of that product, which are the ones you need to keep alive, so to speak.
Yeah. But it's just, luckily it hasn't affected the economy as much as it could have, I think. But it's still just an extra level of just the shady money grubbing shit.
Yeah,
that these guys are doing.
We've talked about this before, but like, and this isn't across all kinds of things, but like you feel it a lot in games and interactive media where you kind of are constantly making purchases. But a big problem is that, you know, theoretically in like capitalism, and we're not an economy podcast, so we don't have to get like deep into this.
Yes, we do.
Wall Street.
The point is that money is like a symbol that represents, you know, an ability to like exchange for equivalent goods and equivalent services rendered in a certain amount of time, and et cetera, right?
Mm-hmm.
You work for this amount of time, you get this amount of money, then you go, okay, I have this much money now, I can afford to spend it on X product for leisure, this for food, blah, blah, right? It's a symbol that represents time and effort and other products. It doesn't mean anything in and of itself. It's just a convenient way to transition your time spent at work into your ability to then get stuff.
Yeah.
It's a gift
But-
card to anywhere.
It's a gift card to anywhere. But as like capitalism goes on, or getting into like what people call late stage capitalism, money has become more of its own thing. You have entire industries that are just about helping
Ugh.
people use their money to make more money. And part of that
So silly.
in retail and products and services is that originally the purpose was I provide you thing, service, cards, whatever, and then you give me money. But now it's becoming I just want more money, and I'm going to find more and more ways to manipulate you into spending more money on less stuff. Because if I just get money, that's all I care about. And even with like the lack of an MSRP thing, right? Like Wizards is like, oh, I don't know, sell it for whatever. And that creates this weird context where people are fighting over it, and it makes the product seem more special and more important than it is.
Yeah.
And that's in a lot of stuff. It's one of the problems with loot boxes. It's in so many different things, right? Is finding ways to get more money for less, because it's not about trading service for money. It's just about getting money.
Yeah.
And it really sucks to see that it's happening even in Magic
Yeah.
now.
The fact that we live in a world where like investing is like a career. Like you can
Yeah,
be someone who invests in things where you just
Dude.
buy stuff in order to make more money later.
That fucking blows my mind. Like
Yeah,
I can't.
It's so weird.
Money's not real, man.
Yeah.
Why? Money's fake. We made it up.
It like
It doesn't matter.
It makes sense for like resources and stuff when you're talking about like investing in like, not that I need to talk about oil on this podcast, but like investing things like in oil or like in green electricity things or things like that. Like it makes more sense there because you're also investing in something growing that's helping the economy in other ways by supplying energy, power, shit like that. But when you invest in like a car company or like fucking or like Wizards of the Coast, and you're like, I'm gonna buy like, for instance, people who buy collectibles all the time, they invest in them. They buy them, they keep them in the box, they put them in a fucking closet, and then 20 years later they pull them out and go, it's worth $2,000 now. And you know what? Someone will buy it. Yep. Because they take advantage of the person. They take advantage of the person who's a huge Super Smash Bros. Or Samus fan, and they didn't get the chance to fucking buy it, so they'll buy it now at the inflated price.
And the reason they didn't get to buy it when it came out is because Nintendo only printed fucking like 30 of them. Because then you have to go and run and buy them right now, and then you have people who just buy them, keep them in their fucking closet.
There are only 30, Sean. Hold on to that fucking thing. There are only 30 of them.
It's all just a fucking racket, man.
I got all 30 of them.
Do you remember when people were trying to like ship like Fire Emblem amiibos from Japan because there weren't enough in North America?
Yeah.
Dude,
you literally just poured plastic into a fucking mold. It doesn't cost you any more to make them. Just make more so people can buy them. Fuck!
Dude, I just made like $280 selling my amiibos.
I know you did.
Dude.
Kelly's like, here's the problem with people, and then Brandon's like, I'm that person. And there's me being like, I'm that person.
Anyways, we do have to wrap it up. I literally have a bus to catch here in a few minutes.
Does my microphone still sound okay?
Yes, it's fine. Yeah, you're good.
I just straight up dropped it because I forgot my headphones were plugged into my microphone.
This was fantastic. It's very unfortunate, capitalism and all that stuff. Kelly, you put it well earlier. Burn everything. Fuck capitalism. Fucking
eat the rich.
Eat the rich. All that shit.
Tax the rich. Can we just
tax? Yeah. Oh my god.
My final thoughts for the day. Everything we talked about is fucking tax the rich, man.
Tax the rich. Wear your mask. There you go.
Yep, there it is.
I agree. I have one thing to add.
What's that?
Don't buy used miniatures that people have to make because then they bend and they stand bad.
Oh my god.
Look at this. He's
brutal.
Awkward.
It looks fine on camera.
Looks fine.
Thank you.
He's leaning like this.
Thank you, Jordan Adika, for rating us. So Jordan Adika rated us like 18 people. We have some of them have left now, but we're at like 12 viewers right now. We were at like 23 a second ago. Anyways, thank you everyone for coming in and watching. Thank you, Jordan Adika, for rating us. If you can follow our socials, follow us on here. First of all, that'd be fucking great. We have a Discord. Oh, I'll throw the Discord in the doobly-doo real quick so you guys can join if you'd like, because we'd love to have you there. We'd love to chat with you. You can.
I'm Matt Koval fan, I see.
We can give. The doobly-doo, yeah. Give us suggestions for other podcasts, all that kind of stuff. We play games. We're definitely going to be playing games later this week, probably later this weekend. Among Us, Star Wars Squadrons, Overwatch, all kinds of shit. We have YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff.
If anybody plays Destiny, I'm raiding tonight.
Sean is always home. Sean is always home. He's got nothing to do. Go on Discord and go, hey, at Sean, fucking play games with me. He'll do it, okay?
I probably will.
He'll do it, okay? Thank you, everyone. Really appreciated it. We'll see you guys. This is every week, by the way. Every week, Wednesdays, 12 o'clock, 11:30, 12 o'clock. I don't know. We'll figure out a proper time at some point. We'll figure it out.
Time out.
And thank you all for hanging out. Thank you, Jordan's fans. We appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. Eat the rich.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
We should have outro music. And Brandon,
We will.
Can
We'll
you
get
write,
there.
Can you
We'll
write
get there.
it?
I'll do a music making stream and I'll make some music. Yeah.
We already talked about this while you were sleeping, Sean. Don't worry.
Dude, I've never been asleep.
Okay, I gotta seriously go. My bus comes in like 5 minutes. Okay, bye guys. See ya,
Hurry up, Brandon.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.